Hey guys, this is attorney Walter Knott. We're going to be going live right now to go ahead and do, I'm not even sure which version of it is, but we've done a zillion of these so that I can help people by answering specific questions from people who call into this phone. Now, real quick intro, as per the usual. Over here is a company I've been working for 8 years that I started 8 years ago. That is Disability Resolution PA. That is the law firm where I practice disability law. That is my traditional job. The nonprofit that I'm starting and almost finished with, it's taken me forever, is right over here called Space. Howdy guys, how are you doing? It's called spaceconstitution.com. And that will be actually switched over to spaceconstitution.org as a 501c3. And that is going to be the future general basic open source constitution for people to type in rights and freedoms that they've never thought of before that the human race should partake in. The idea of this is to create some sort of happy, safe place for those people to type into an online website where attorneys can take ideas that they have, convert them into freedoms and laws that would allow the future human race to go ahead and utilize those. Because remember, we don't have tons of laws, we don't have tons of freedoms set up for future space colonies, future space stations, all those things. That includes also taking the laws that we currently have in these countries and kind of modifying them, maybe even creating custom templates for those countries to utilize those laws to incorporate into their current country. Alrighty, guys. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and put in, I know I missed one phone call so far. I'm going to put in the phone number right there. That is the phone number right there, 407-279-1754, that you call into. Please remember, and this is very important, when you call in, use a fake name. That way, there's no connection for me, having to worry about whether or not you're represented by somebody else or blah, 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 because there's no traditional attorney-client privilege because I don't know who you are. That way, we can skip all the legality of that and get right to answering your question. Howdy, guys. How you doing? Good to see you. Howdy. Howdy, Dennis, Florida couple, Stella, howdy. Maureen Brown, howdy. Then all the way up here, there's Jane Doe, perfect. Garden, howdy. Leanne, excellent, excellent. All right, good, good, good. And there's Eric. Okay, perfect. All right, so let me go ahead and check this out real quick. All right, perfect. So we missed one phone call. Let me see if I can reach out to this person right now. Okie doke. Let's see what we got. Okay. Let me see what we've got here. Got a couple of text messages. A couple of people called in early. Let's do this one first. Here we go. All right, I'm going to call the person. We're going to let it ring. I'll let the person go ahead and answer. Then I'll set up the microphone to receive the phone call audio, even though the mic's a little bit loose here. There we go. Perfect. Okay, good, good, good. And what we're doing is we're waiting to see if this person answers. If not, I'll go ahead and open up the line to go ahead and allow anybody to just call in at that point. Let's see. We're on like the 6th ring, so I don't know if he's going to answer. No biggie if not. I can kind of talk about the next thing I'm going to be doing. Howdy, good sir. Attorney Walter Knott. We are live on YouTube right now. I missed your phone call. Please remember to use a fake name throughout this. Would you like me to answer a specific question or run hearing questions with you?
No, I got a specific question. My name is Grizz.
Okay, perfect. Now, it sounds a little muddled. Am I on speakerphone on your end?
Yes, sir, because that's the best way I can hear you.
Okay, gotcha. If you could just talk closer to the phone, that would be perfect.
All right. My name is Grizz.
Mm-hmm.
And my question is, I'm already on disability, and I'm getting ready to sell my house.
Okay.
Now, the money I make, it's a one-time money shot from what I understand because I am 64.
Mm-hmm.
I want to buy a house, maybe Florida, or it doesn't matter, somewhere, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And Florida's where I'm looking at.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I want to buy that property, and I'm probably going to have money left over.
Mm-hmm.
Is disability going to penalize me for that?
Are you on SSI or SSDI?
I'm on permanent disability.
Okay, but are you on SSI or SSDI? Because SSI is supplemental security income, which is a permanent form of disability for poverty-based individuals. SSDI is your classic quarters of coverage disability, which is, basically, the same standard of severity for SSI. So, all right, let me ask you this. What are you getting per month from the SSA? That'll tell me which program you're on.
I I am getting $1,400
Okay.
thereabout.
Okay, so you're on SSDI. So basically, it's not really going to affect you in any way. When you sell your home, most people, put that into another home. So it's not really technically a gain in any sort. If you do have leftover funds, you have to specifically whether or not those are going to be considered countable income. And then basically for that particular month, you might be ineligible for SSDI benefits, so 1 month. And then those will transition over to a resource base, which means the SSDI doesn't really care about them. So, but for the most part, it's highly unlikely that would affect your benefits in any way, manner, or form.
Can I hide that extra that's left over?
I mean, you could spend it on something, or I mean, yeah, if you took it out of the bank, they wouldn't be able to see where it went. So, but yeah, I mean, basically, if it's a significant. Now you're buying. What state do you live in currently?
I live in the most expensive state there is, Maryland.
Yeah, but Florida's not that far away. I mean, so so when you're like, I'm going to have money left over, I'm like, I don't know. Okay, so let me ask you this: what's the house worth right now that you're in, realistically, versus what's the house that you want to buy, realistically, down here? You know what I mean?
Well, I'm looking for acreage, okay, and it can be a mobile home, but I'm looking for a well and septic system on it, because I understand that in Florida you have to pay to put sewage in and else in for a new house.
Yeah.
It's like what is it, 10,000 or 20,000 each?
I don't know. I mean, like the thing is this: what I see most people do when they're doing your gig is they'll just go ahead and put an RV on the land. They'll run electric, but then they'll just do a bunch of French, drains, if you know what I mean, and then kind of go that route. But keep in mind, every time a construction crew digs up some plot of land, they always come across some giant tank that was basically where somebody had some sort of little house or little RV or whatever. But yeah, it does usually, they do require you to go ahead and run. Usually, and it might be different in certain counties and things like that, but they usually require you to run proper sewage and proper electric and proper water to the actual area.
Well, I'm looking for like in Leesburg.
Okay, cool. Now, how much acreage are we talking about here?
5 or better.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, you can find that in Leesburg. You're definitely not going to find that South Florida. The more South Florida you get, 5 acres.
The more density is, right?
Well, it's that, and also the land just goes way, way up in price. Like I live on I live on an island, so like land over here is extremely ridiculously, stupidly expensive. But I got a good deal because it was a fixer-upper. But if you're talking about Leesburg, man, there's acreage upon acreage. You could do whatever you wanted to do,
Okay, but I do know that there is a huge to putting that stuff in.
Yeah, I mean, if you bought 20 acres and you're in the middle of it, you know what I mean? Like, how are they going to know? You know what I mean? That's kind of the other side of the coin. You still legally have to do it. As an attorney, I have to tell you have to do it, and go by whatever the county code is for any of the code ordinances and things like that. But I would call the county, code enforcement group, and ask them, hey, what are the requirements for this? And if they're not willing to tell you, then just contact a local attorney for that particular county that knows specifically the property law requirements to be able to do that stuff. And then kind of go from there. And then also remember, Florida is not super fiberglass friendly, because of the really, really hot sun and things like that. So if you are going to buy some sort of place to live in, go with some sort of aluminum, like an aluminum RV or an aluminum, fifth wheel or mobile home or whatever, if you can find one, because with those you can put sealant around the seams and the thing will never leak.
Okay. What about those houses that are
tiny houses
come together in parts?
Yeah. You could do a mobile house. You could do a prefab house where they drop it off with some 18-wheelers. You could go all those routes, but look, I mean, you said you were 64, right?
Yeah, 64.
how nice of a house do you like really want to live in? Because those little prefab houses, they're well built, they're not cheap. So I mean, is this like a thing where you're like, I really want to have this, or is this a thing like, this is my retirement, I'm just getting a trailer and doing my thing?
I'd like to put at least 2 trailers on it.
Yeah, I mean, because remember, those little houses, they're not cheap. You know, that's kind of the problem. And you also have to prep the ground too, where they're going to go. Because if you get any sagging with where you put down the cinder blocks and stuff like that, it's just going to be terrible.
You hit water at a ridiculously short distance down.
Yeah. So I mean, and keep in mind, like, you got to understand too, everything in Florida is sugar sand or sand and some dirt. I mean, it's a lot of sand. So none of the dirt here is really substantially strong. The moment you start to remove the plants from it and stuff like that, it immediately begins to just degrade and erode, and everything just kind of falls apart quickly. So when you put anything heavy on the Florida sand, it will sink in. Like if you drive an F-350 dually, or you have a heavy trailer, like the moment you go ahead and get those tires, and that's another thing too, if you get a trailer, make sure you're at least getting a triple axle, because that's just more feet on the ground that are solid to an axle. If you go with something that's like, for example, 2 axles or 1 axle or whatever, if you can get 2 dually axles, that's really amazing. But remember, you're going to want as many of those little pop-up jack stands to hold that thing up, to keep it from basically wobbling and, creating basically a floor that's going to start to buckle in different areas.
Okay. So a mobile home is a pretty good way to go then.
It's totally up to you. Like, if the law firm, disappeared tomorrow, like, I could live in a mobile home and I'd be fine. It wouldn't really bug me that much. I mean, one of the ones that I always wanted to get was an Excel 1000, which was like your Airstream triple axle trailer. But that's because you can seal those, and they'll never leak. And the number one issue when it comes to anything in Florida is that the roof with the sun gets destroyed. So any RV you get, you've got to paint, whether it's aluminum, fiberglass, or whatever. So you got to realize you have you want a white roof on it, and if you can, you want a rounded roof, which is what the Airstreams offer. And if you can get aluminum, that's the way to go, because they'll never leak. And you have to paint aluminum in Florida, because a lot of people don't realize this, but when an aluminum trailer is like buffed and shined and super shiny, that super shiny metal becomes extremely hot, because it's like the surface of a mirror, and mirrors become extremely hot in the sun, significantly hotter than anything else. That's why you always want to paint whatever you have white. I have a white roof on my house. A lot of people don't have that because they don't think it looks good. I don't really care. It lowers my AC bill. But the bottom line is, you got to paint it white no matter what you do. So I
get a tin roof and make sure it's white.
Yeah. Well, an aluminum roof. Yeah. So, yeah. But if you can get an aluminum roof, and that's the other problem with aluminum roof, is you want to make sure that you get something of a decent gauge. Gauge is the thickness of metal, which I'm sure kinds of thicknesses. Make sure you, like, if you're going to put it on yourself or do that gig yourself, obviously I understand code stuff, but I know how you guys are. If you're going to put the roof on yourself, make sure you get a decent thickness for the gauge, because if you get a thin gauge, the moment we have some sort of weird storm where we get a hurricane, all of those, heavy part, we might get some weird, we might get heavy rain, we might get some actual ice that comes down. If that happens, it's going to go right through and pock up and then actually break through that thin gauge metal roof that's aluminum.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I get a mobile home, I just tell them the fact is I want the mobile home to have a tin roof on it or aluminum roof on it.
Yeah, I don't think they sell tin roofs at all down here in Florida. In fact, because remember, everything in Florida is coastal. Like, no matter what you do, no matter how far in Florida, you're still going to get some sort of erosion, rust, and problems like that, because it's just, the salt is in the air. It travels across. So anything that you buy down here, always look to basically get what's called coastal grade. Coastal grade, they have more stainless steel parts and stuff like that. But another thing, realize this too, and this is incredibly important. In Florida, stainless steel that they sell anywhere else rusts. Stainless steel rusts down here. 304 stainless steel is the standard. But you need, if you want to live in Florida and buy something in stainless steel, you need what's called 316 stainless or 316L stainless.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
basically, what you're telling me is, if I have extra money, make it disappear.
Well, I can't say make it disappear,
Oh,
but
okay.
you know what I mean. Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, I can't legally as an attorney say make it rain somewhere else, but I can say this, you know, with SSDI, they're usually not looking to go ahead and take those funds. And if they do see some sort of and they're doing it as an accountable resource, which they usually don't do with homes, but if they do, you'll only be ineligible for that one particular month, and the next month those funds become a resource, and then they won't affect you.
Oh, really?
Correct.
So I just have to sit out 1 month. Is that correct? Is that what you're telling me?
You might not even have to, but you might.
Okay. Well, sir, I really appreciate you calling me and me getting a hold of you.
Mm-hmm.
You've taught me a lot. I just needed to know.
Perfect. Good, sir. Have a wonderful week, an absolutely amazing weekend. And when you do finally come down to Florida, I hope you do. Enjoy it. It is a really beautiful place.
Yeah, well, I like the Leesburg area because it's not around a whole lot of houses, but I can get to them if I want to.
Right. Very true. You know, I was looking at Christmas, Florida, as well myself, but then I found the spot I'm at. I'm just, but good, sir. Sounds good. I will catch you later. You have a wonderful night.
All right. God bless.
You as well. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, cool. Let me see real quick. Okay, so real quick, I know that kind of went away from disability into like how to live on a budget using what you have. Now, keep in mind, I'm going to try and do a better job today of answering those questions that are over here in the live chat. Also, thank you. I did get a donation from Chrissy Hughes, which I really appreciate. All the donations that I do get really help me kind of compete against these mega big box firms. And it also helps me buy all the treats for the doggies too. And they're kind of chubbed out right now because they had a bunch of food right before this whole show. So, all right, let's go into ... There was another caller. Let me see if I can go ahead and get him on the line. And then we'll go ahead and basically keep rocking through this. Okay, let's see. And keep in mind, at some point, guys, put your questions in the chat section, and then I'll go ahead and answer them as they pop up because I want to have a better balance of phone calls and chat session answers. And then at some point, also, I want to go through specifically. Hi, good sir, Attorney Walter Knott. We are live on YouTube right now, and I just wanted to go ahead and basically let you know I can answer a specific question, or I can go ahead and run hearing questions with you, but just remember to use a fake name. So would you like me to answer a question for you, good sir?
Yeah, I was wanting to know what was going on with the case.
Oh, are you?
You told me to call you Thursday, but
this is okay. So you're a current claimant, good sir. So I gotcha. You actually called right next to the live. But what I'll do is, can you call me in the morning tomorrow? I'll pull the claim, or just honestly shoot me a text around 10:30 tonight, and I'll pull the claim, and then I'll basically give you an update on it. Okay. Perfect, good sir. Sounds good. Excellent. We're live right now, so I'm going to catch you tomorrow morning, and we'll do an update on the claim. Okay. So good sir, we're actually live on YouTube right now. Yeah, we're actually live on YouTube right now doing a show about disability benefits. But let me do this. I'll call you, or you call me tomorrow morning, because Friday mornings are always hectic. But give me a call, and then we'll. Okay, I can't write it down right now, but if you call me tomorrow morning, we'll work on it and keep rolling with it. Perfect, good sir. Sounds good. Excellent. I'll catch you tomorrow. Probably around 10 a.m. would be best. Yeah. Perfect, good sir. Sounds good. Have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you tomorrow. You too. Bye-bye. Okay, so that was actually a claimant, and he put in the little text thing where he left a message. He's like, oh, I'm trying to call you on Thursday, yada yada, and blah blah. I was like, it must be anyways, but no biggie. Oh, now we're on low power mode with the phone. All right, let me put the phone number in here. That way I don't have to do that again. That way we get some fresh phone calls. Also, I'm going to read through some of these things that people are putting in here right now. Here's the first one. I'm on SSDI. So Kathy wrote, I'm on SSDI because my husband was killed, but my daughter has been disabled since 12 years and said, but we supported her. Then my husband was murdered and I can't support her. Okay. Well, if the husband is passed away, that 12-year-old daughter can go ahead and get aux benefits. So Kathy, go begin looking at specifically aux benefits. That's for children of deceased parents. Who basically can tap into additional funds to go ahead and pay for them. And then when she reaches 18, you want to look at, so here, when 18, she can look into BAC benefits, which are disabled adult child benefits. Oh, she's not 36? Oh, okay. So yeah, well, no, in that case, then it's SSI, SSDI. You're not going to be able to get aux or DAC or any of that stuff. What are the best ways to keep your SSI/SSDI? Well, I mean, it depends on what they're looking for, but usually it's continuous medical treatments that's showing you getting more and more severe, more and more worse, more and more disabled. Because ultimately what they're going to be doing are CDRs, which are continuing disability reviews, which, basically look to see if you still meet the statute requirements. But the tricky part of it is that every year they make the statutes, more and more and more and more and more severe. And they make the rules tougher and tougher and tougher to be found disabled and stay disabled. So that's why a lot of people are going to CDRs and then getting kicked off and not being able to get back on. Because let's be honest, guys, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, heck, even 7 years ago, it was not that hard to get onto disability benefits. Now it's really friggin' hard. I mean, all the new judges it's tough. All right, so Silent Universal, yeah, she can if you want. Pissed Offerman, did everyone here get stimulus payments? I didn't. Ken, act of kindness, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I really, really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. That's awesome. Yeah, I have not gotten a single stimulus other than the PPP funds, which help to basically keep the law firm, swimming in the right direction, which is that whole payroll protection system. Okay, so let me go up here. EY040984 said, I got denied from the judge, so what do I do? So at that point, you have two options. You can either refile or you can go to appeals counsel. Appeals counsel requires a brief, so you're basically going to need an attorney to go ahead and write a brief and send in, arguing why the judge made an error as to law or fact. Didn't consider the proper medical weight of evidence for some of the physicians. There's a zillion arguments you could use, but you'd need an attorney to go ahead and review and then basically write up an AC, appeals counsel-based brief to submit to go to that next level. Okay, or you can refile. Those are the two main options that you have at that point. Nancy Anderson, I didn't get the second or the third. Yeah, a lot of people are not getting their stimulus for the third payment. I'm on SSDI, severe pulmonary issues. I need to know what kind of attorney to contact. I would have died Wednesday from severe asthma attack caused by my neighbors had I not had my doctor's cell. So how's it caused by your neighbors? It's almost like an anxiety, panic attack kind of gig, but if pulmonary would be maybe something, I don't know. So you're on SSDI already, so you're receiving your disability benefits. I mean, what are you trying to claim damages? So Shelly's Corner, like, give me some background here. Give me some details. Like, were you injured? Do you have medical costs? Like, what happened? What caused? How did your neighbors cause the severe asthma attack? Okay, let's see. Eric, your shot is pretty much over at this point. I'm not sure what that refers to. Let's see. No threats to me. No, not here. So why? Stay on retirement. We were left out of a system. I've been disabled since 2018. I sent this year 2020. So this is from Victor. I spent this year 2021 the short review continuity. All right, so you did a short form CDR. I was asked, I'm 58 when I'm supposed to get the next review. All right, so Victor, the bottom line is at 58, you're probably not going to get another review. They pretty much cut off at 59 doing most CDRs, and then 60 you just don't see them at all. But 58 is kind of the last train stop where you're going to see those, and that's because at 59 they start applying what's called a non-mechanical application to alleged onset date for retroactive benefits. And what that means is that they'll go farther back from 60 into 59 to apply the grid rule of 60. That's basic. I know that doesn't make sense, but there's these grid rules, and every 5 years from 45 up, it becomes easier to be found disabled. And at 60 years old, we don't even look at element 5 of the 5-step sequential process. I mean, technically we're supposed to, but we just, in practical application, we don't, which is, can you do other work? That's element 5. Can you do other work in the national economy, whether it's skilled, semi-skilled, or unskilled? So then we just look at, can you do your past work? And if you haven't done your past work, you haven't worked in the past 15 years, then you're set. You know what I mean? So long as you remain severely impaired, you're set. Hey, Ken of Act of Kindness. Howdy. Love it. Love the star. Let's see. Looks like Mast LJNJ stated, yes, it was hard 10 years ago to get an SSDI. It took some of us 4 years or more. Yeah, it was tough 10 years ago, but it was still in the golden era. Like, I remember working for other firms. I worked for 2 firms going back 15 years worth of time. On top of the 8 years, it was 8 years and then 15 years back, that extra bit of time, that extra 7 years. I worked for other firms, and it was still considered the golden era of disability benefits 10 years ago. Sure, you still had to wait 3 to 4 years for a hearing. It took a long time, but they were still the golden eras of disability because pretty much most people that went to a hearing had to go ahead and were found disabled. And that was kind of the beauty of the whole situation, is that they, you know what I mean, that you were found disabled. Nowadays, a lot of people are waiting 2 to 3 years and they're not getting found disabled at all. Oh, and I need to tell you guys this, I forgot. So I've been speaking with a lot of DDS reps, and all of a sudden, a lot of the DDS reps that were available were just like the normal ones that I always chat with, not like the ones where it's like I know them, but I don't really know them that well. So they had a lot of individuals as part of the whole COVID rollout. They left. They chose different jobs for whatever reason, yada, yada. And there's a massive backup of claims at the DDS level. And that means that, unfortunately, that massive chunk of claims, once it gets processed and moves over to the hearing office level, I think there's over like 11,000 claims that are basically just stuck in the nation at DDS and are now trying to be transitioned over to the hearing level. What happens is this, I'm getting a call. It's going to take, in the next couple of months, you're going to start to see that waiting for a hearing is going to take a lot more time. But let me go ahead and pick up this phone call real quick, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so hold on. Let me get this thing real quick. Oh, there we go. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Knott with Disability Resolution PA. We are live. Would you like me to answer a specific question, run hearing questions, or and also please remember to use a fake name throughout this process. What would you like me to go ahead and do?
Hi, Walter. I'm Shelly Porter.
Okay.
You wanted more information?
Yes. Okay.
So what happens? I have severe pulmonary disease. I have undiagnosed lung issues, and I have severe asthma. Mm-hmm. And someone on my hall is burning scented candles or incense or something. Okay. And the smell is spilling out into the hallway. And I spent the last 2 weeks of December in the hospital with mm-hmm. my asthma because of it. And I almost died yesterday. Had I not had my doctor's phone, I would not have been, I would have died. I had to text him and tell him I could not breathe. He sent the obvious text back, call 911. I responded, I can't because I can't talk. So he had to call EMS. I was rushed to the hospital. They finally got it under control, and I was able to come home. I've spoken with the building manager. She says she can't send out a notice to anybody regarding the issue. Yeah. And I've told her, I said, okay, fine. If it happens again, I will contact an attorney. There's case law on the books for this stuff. And I just need to know, what kind of attorney would I contact for that?
Toxic tort. toxic tort attorney is basically what you would need. They would go around and pull the
I'm
law.
sorry, what was that again?
Toxic tort. Toxic, like, yeah, I don't know.
Right.
This is a terrible example, but toxic, like the Britney Spears song. Let me think about it. Toxic, like, you know,
I
like,
understand.
yeah, like toxic fumes. There you
What
go.
kind of attorney handles that?
Yeah, a toxic tort attorney, a toxic. There's specific attorneys that handle toxic torts. So an example of a toxic tort claim would be like a massive oil spill, or a massive situation where there was bad drinking water, or
Right.
whatever toxic situation would equate to. Now remember too, it's got to be worth that attorney's time. So I mean, did you have any damages? I mean, like what did your medical bills equate to?
Back in December, they were over $40,000.
That's some money right there. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So, I don't want to have to sue anybody. I just want to be able to breathe. And I have to go out like 3 times a day to take my dog out. And so I don't have much choice in whether to breathe it or not.
Do you have like an air purifier?
And I can still smell it.
Do you have like an air purifier? Do you have like, things to go ahead and keep the smells out? Like,
Well, in my apartment isn't the issue. It's walking down the hall just to take my dog out. That's enough to set it off.
Mm.
And my asthma is extremely severe, and it's extremely difficult to treat. And it's not a good thing when your doctor has to call EMS for you.
I guess what I would say is, so, and remember too, you were there first, right? You moved there first.
I really don't know. I moved in when everybody moved in when the building first opened in June of 2019. It was a brand new building.
Okay, so now you said June of what year?
2019.
Okay, so you've been living with this. So then, all right. Now, are you renting or do you own the place?
I rent.
Okay.
It's just a very large apartment building.
Okay, so
and it's just my end of the hall.
And what do they say about what they're going to do to fix it? I'm guessing they said nothing.
They won't do anything.
Yeah. Okay. So this would fall under the toxic tort, where an attorney would send your office manager some sort of cease and desist letter, or some sort of required action to cure letter. It'd be a required action to cure letter, which would say, hey, yada, yada, yada. Then your manager would have to notify the people who were doing. Now, do you know who's doing this, or is this like you don't even know which room this is coming from?
I can't be sure because it comes out from around the door so much that even though I'm on the opposite end of the hallway, it fills up the whole hallway.
Yeah, but you've got to know which door it is, though. I mean, do you know which apartment it is?
No, I can't figure it out. I think it's on it's closer to the elevator than it is to my apartment, and I think I have an idea of who it is,
mm-hmm.
but it's just not going to go over well if I start knocking on doors.
I mean, have you tried to communicate with your neighbors? It's always kind of the first shot across the bow,
Well, that's what I'm saying. Management would not be happy if I started knocking on doors.
Why not? They're your neighbors.
I know. I get it, but if I do something that pisses them off and I get thrown out of here, I've got nowhere to go.
Well, you can't be thrown out of here. All right. So, I mean, look, you got to understand, like, your neighbors are allowed to make a certain amount of noise, certain amount of smells, as part of their thing. Having hypersensitivity, yes, everybody has to be aware of it, but having extreme hypersensitivity where it's at that point where, like, you could die from very little smell. And, like, if you can't even tell which apartment it's coming from, then it must not be that extreme.
No, it's pretty extreme, but it's so constant that it fills up the whole hallway.
Yeah, I mean, but consider it fills up the whole hallway, but have you asked other neighbors, like, who's creating that? Other people in the hallway? I mean, I think the easy thing to do would just be talk to your neighbors, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. It's just, I've gotten advice from other people. Not that other people really matter, but you know, they're like, yeah, nobody needs to know why they're being told to not burn scented candles, kind of thing. So I just.
Well, you don't even know who's causing it. I mean, you don't. So the first thing you always do is try and work it out with the other person. If you can't do that, then you try and work it out with the manager. If you can't work it out with the manager, then you have an attorney send, you know, notification to cure letter to them. But I mean, like, you're not even on step one yet. You don't even know who's causing it. But you don't even have, like, who the harm is being created by.
Right. I get that. So I mean, I have a suspicion, and I don't. It's just really hard. It is just so hard. You know, it just, they're going to feel like, well, it's my apartment, I can do what I want. But the problem is that when you're doing whatever you want in your apartment, I pay rent too. So your right to do what you want stops at your door, just like it does for me. And when what you're doing affects the common area, and you've got somebody like me who could easily die from what you're doing, then it's an issue.
Yeah,
that doesn't mean you don't understand that.
The law does not recognize hypersensitivities for individuals that purposely place them into particular areas that are problematic. So, I mean, like, that's like saying, you know, you moved into a house somewhere where there was already a pre-existing, you know, coal mine, and the coal dust, you know, gives you allergic reactions, and as a result of that, you want the coal mine to shut down. Like, and keep in mind, it's not actually. It's similar, because you moved in. You're still not sure when they started. You're not sure exactly who did it. You haven't talked with anybody. And keep in mind too, they're allowed to have a certain amount of noise. They're allowed to have a certain amount of smells and things like that. Like if they're cooking barbecue or whatever, that smell is going to permeate through the door and go into the hallway. So, you know, yeah.
You know, I mean, there is. My sister actually found some case law online, and there's case precedents for it.
Not for this, though. I mean, the only thing that the only time this stuff ever gets a police officer involved, and then it gets news coverage because people think it's ridiculous, is like when somebody's out barbecuing in their backyard. And basically, all of a sudden, you have two options. Somebody's barbecuing, the police get called, and they make them stop barbecuing because the smell, you know, interacts with somebody else's house or whatever, somebody else's apartment. Or you have people smoking pot, and that pot wafts over, and somebody's not happy about it. And as a result, you know, basically, you know, the officer goes over there to check in. You know, but then remember too, now with medical marijuana being, you know, basically validated, they wouldn't even have. I mean, that's the thing. How sensitive are you? I mean, are you, you know, is this, you're saying you almost died from it? I mean, if this is a gig where you almost.
I did yesterday. I mean, I was not doing well all day. And then it just all of a sudden, it's like I walked off the edge of the cliff. When EMS got here, they could hear no air at all. My lungs were totally silent.
I mean, yeah.
Getting something.
So in that case, you have a hyper allergic reaction to it, and which in that case, I mean, look, then you should be renting a place, if you're that allergic to all that stuff, that is separate from most people, like a trailer somewhere, or a small little house somewhere, or something like that, that's separate, you know, from people. Because, I mean, if you're living in a giant apartment building, you could get them kicked out, but then guess what? They're just going to fill it with somebody else, you know?
Well, see, I'm not trying to get anybody kicked out. I just want somebody, whoever's doing it, to understand that this is causing serious health problems for me. And, I mean, I wouldn't continue to do something if I knew that it was hurting somebody else.
Yeah,
everybody feels that way.
You gotta reach out to them too. Like you haven't even taken the first step to figure out who, what, when, and where. Like you're saying they need to understand me. On the other side of the coin, you have to be understanding too that if you don't reach out to them, if you don't give them the chance to cure, if you don't even give them the knowledge base of what's going on with you, if you don't even approach them in a common, decent way, how the heck are they going to know?
Oh, I just, it doesn't feel that simple. I don't want to walk up to somebody and say, I almost died because you're running.
That's not how you approach it. I mean, you don't approach it as you almost killed me.
Not, but that's still what the takeaway is, right? So that's why you have office managers.
No, you're looking at it wrong. You need to communicate to the person and give them a chance to understand who you are so that they have a reason to say, I understand, I get it. We'll put a fan or something out the window or something like that. Office managers are not your mom. Office managers are not supposed to fix everything in your life. You know that. Office managers are there to basically handle the finances, and if something breaks, somebody tries to rob the place, they're there to call the police, but still, once again, it's not their job to fix the immediate issues. So, if it gets heated and things like that, then yeah, you could ask them to step in, but they're not the first step. You have to make the first initial step to reach out to at least a neighbor of the person that's doing it or the person themselves and ask them to please go ahead and put a fan or something because you're having horrible reactions to it. You have to take that first step. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. You got it, because you're not being really understanding of them because they don't even have an understanding of what your issue is yet. That's like saying, I'm ready to sue them.
Yeah, and I get that. Right. Yeah. I don't want to sue the apartment, whoever's in the apartment that's doing it.
That's good, because you don't know which one to sue. It'd be tough.
But
yeah.
Even if I figured it out, I don't want to sue her. I want the apartment complex to take care of the problem.
Yeah.
The complex where my daughter lives, they have a no flame rule. You're not allowed to light anything. So, we don't have that. So I just want the building manager to work with me on this and help me out. I don't. The other thing is, I really don't feel like I should have to disclose my health issues to my neighbors.
Well,
I don't really think
if you're going that route, then you'll have to reach out to your manager, and the manager will handle it in the best way that they feel is proper. But you remember, you called in to say, who do I contact to deal with this?
Right.
And the person you contact, is the person who's doing it. You don't even have to disclose what your medical conditions are. You could just talk to them and say, hey, look, I'm having a little bit of a tough time with those particular smells that are coming from it. Would you be so kind to use a fan? Or even reach out with, and say, hey, look, I'll purchase a fan for you guys. I'd be more than happy. You guys could just work with me on this because I found it to be a really, really bad problem for me. You don't even have to disclose specifically what your impairments are, but you do need to reach out, because if you don't reach out, even if you just have to go and see, that's the thing too. I'm an attorney. I'm accustomed to very aggressive encounters. I'm accustomed to judges being very aggressive towards me and then having to come back with the most polite and wonderful yada yada. So to me, having that fighting interaction is commonplace. I live in that all the time. That's fine for me. I get that you are afraid of it, that you don't like it. You're using.
Well, I'm not afraid of it. I just don't. I don't like causing negative confrontation.
Why?
I've always felt like, why?
Yeah.
I mean, if I felt like I knew this person well enough that I knew that they weren't going to, get really pissed off and fly off the handle, fine. But I don't know these people. We just never. People here just don't interact with each other, especially during COVID. I mean, it's just it's really weird. I've never lived anywhere where the people didn't really talk to each other.
I mean, look, the only way you're really going to be happy is to go and rent some place that's like its own little place. You know, find some really, really cheap little house or something that you can have. But look,
if I could find that, I would absolutely have done that.
Start looking, you know, and remember, don't do it in the city.
Trust me,
you know,
I have looked for years.
Yeah.
It's a tax credit property. My rent is like, it just went up. I think it's $483.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's unbelievably low.
I got you.
I haven't had, since I got my disability in 2004, I've lived on just under to just over $1,000, and my rent has been $600 a month.
Mm-hmm.
You could not find anything cheaper.
Oh, they have certain disability mortgages set up for people on disability benefits. I never did that damn video. I need to do that. But they have programs for disabled individuals for low income rent to buys. But let me do this. I keep getting a bunch of missed calls. You contact the manager or contact the particular person, work it out. This is not a big deal. It's just a small thing. It's you're making out to be a huge deal because your medical condition made it a huge deal, but contacting them to interact with them, super not a big deal. In fact, if you go to the manager, that's your first step, is like full on, you know, I'm reporting you, that might actually cause more shit than the other option, which is just to reach out and say, hey.
I talked to her multiple times and explained everything.
Oh, well, then you got to talk to the person then. Yeah, then you're not getting anywhere. Then talk to the person, you know.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. You'll end up best friends too. That's like the you know, you'll end up having tea over at their place, you know. So yeah.
I mean, you know, I don't want to have to contact an attorney for anything. You know, I don't do that.
Yeah, no, I understand that. You know, a lot of people don't like to have to interact with attorneys because attorneys are scary. I get that.
No, I don't mean that. I mean, I just have no desire to sue anybody for anything. Yeah, I'm just a happy-go-lucky lady that loves to get along with people, and you know, I just happen to also like breathing.
Gotcha. All right.
So anyway, I've got what I needed. So,
perfect.
I will see what I can do. I mean, I don't think what you're saying is unreasonable. I just don't want to have to go knocking on people's doors.
It's the best way to say hi to people. You know? Yeah.
Yeah.
But all right.
So anyway, all right.
Perfect, madam. Have a wonderful, wonderful night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay, guys, so we're going to call the next person. I know I missed a few phone calls there. No biggie, no problem. Let me go ahead and go over here real quick. Here we go. Okay, cool. And I'm calling this phone number. I'm going to see if I can get this person on the phone. If I do, then I'll switch it over to the speaker, and then we'll be ready to roll. Perfect. If you're at 53, hello? Hello? Oh, hi, this is Attorney Walter Knott. We are live on YouTube right now. Would you now remember to use a fake name? Would you like me to go ahead and answer a specific question or run hearing questions with you?
Yes, no, I got my name. I got my name already. I got my name. I don't have that one.
Oh, good sir. It's super hard to hear you. Are you talking into a speakerphone or what's going on there?
I can hear you very well, sir. I can hear you very well.
Okay, I know. I just can't hear you very well. Like literally my ear is right next to the phone, so I'm having a tough time hearing you.
Oh, right. Hello?
Yeah, I can barely hear you. Is there a way that you can make, like, if you can just talk directly into the phone, or?
Yeah, that's it.
It's slightly better. It's not, yeah.
Okay, hear you now?
Yeah, way better. Way better, yeah.
All right. My name is, I got bullet fragments on my head, inside my, in my head.
Uh-huh.
And I just want to know if I qualify for disability.
Well, it depends. You know, a lot of people come to me with bullet fragments in different areas of their body, but it depends on how it limits your ability to do functional aspects with the job. How old are you currently?
I'm 58.
So if you're 58, you're probably going to grit out so long as it makes you unable to do most types of jobs out there. How do the bullet fragments limit your ability to work?
Oh, that was one of the many years ago now.
How many years ago was that you worked?
Oh, that was this happened in 1980.
1980. Okay, cool. So you haven't been. So you've been on disability benefits for a really, really, really long time.
No, I haven't got the disability. I just want to know if I qualify for it.
So you haven't. Keep in mind, it's still hard to hear you. It was good. It was good to hear you for like a month, and then you moved away from the phone.
Yeah. I haven't had no disability. I want to know if I qualify for it.
Yeah, you should be okay to qualify. But how did you afford to live if you haven't worked since the 1980s?
Oh no, I've been working. I've been working. I just saying that maybe because of the situation of having a bullet fragment in my head, maybe I qualify for disability.
Yeah, you should be able to qualify. You know, but remember, qualify is just the application process. That doesn't mean you're going to be found disabled under the severity requirements. So, how do these bullet fragments limit your ability to work?
Oh, I just because of the headaches that I always experience because of the bullet fragment inside my head.
All right, so you get headaches, you have issues, you have pain. So how does that limit you? I mean, like, you know, what kind of work are you doing right now? How does it limit your ability?
Right now, I just working in MIT here in Boston, Massachusetts, and right there I only clean doorknobs and railings. You know, doorknobs and railings.
Okay. So you're installing them into doors, or you're installing the doors, or what are you doing with them?
No, just cleaning. Just because of this COVID thing, I just cleaning doorknobs and railings.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
Nothing
so
heavy.
Okay, are you earning more than $1,300 a month?
I'll earn more than I'll earn $25 an hour right now on that job. It's only 20 hours a week. 20 hours. Okay,
so it's a part-time 25. How much are you earning per month?
Oh, that'll be $2,000 because 25. That's $25 an hour. That's $2,000 a month.
So you would not be eligible right now because you're earning over SGA for the SSDI requirements. SGA stands for substantial gainful activity. So kind of the bottom line is when you start to earn less than $1,300 per month, that's right around when you're going to start to want to actually apply for disability benefits.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
In other words, I'm better off continue working.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, for sure. If you can make that amount of money just doing the doorknobs, then for sure, good sir, you just want to, and it's part-time too. You just want to keep doing it. You want to try and increase that to full-time, you know?
Yes. It's kind of hard to get full-time there. So I don't know when they're going to keep us out, but this is just temporary right now because of the, about the COVID thing, COVID-19. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if I'm going to be there within 6 more months or whatever.
Okay, gotcha. Well, I mean, look, and remember too, the whole idea of this program is to pay people who either meet a really, really harsh, severe requirement for disability, being that it's sort of like a predefined disability that's really severe, or basically they can't work in the national economy at an hour above part-time. So, yeah, like that's what they're looking at here. And remember, they don't go by $25 an hour. They go by minimum wage. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, I guess I have to keep on working like anybody else. And hopefully nothing happens with these fragments in my head,
Yeah.
They get worse or something like that.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, sounds good, sir. Have a wonderful, wonderful night, and I will catch up with you at some point in the future.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, good sir. Bye-bye. Okay, perfect, guys. There's another one. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Knott with... Oh, hold on, let me put the... I got to do the... Hi, this is Attorney Walter Knott with Disability Resolution PA. We are live on YouTube right now. We're switching over to speakerphone. And if you'd like me to answer a specific question, or you'd like me to run hearing quest time, but remember to use a fake name. So howdy.
Hi. Howdy. How'd you know I was from Texas?
I didn't, but I'm from a farm. I grew up on a farm. So how we doing?
Oh, pretty good. Thank you. You are awesome. But
Thank
listen,
you.
I have a great problem. I am on disability, have been since 2004. I'm 58, and they just sent me a thing for a hearing.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, not a hearing, I'm sorry, to review it, I guess.
Yeah.
And I've had cancer. I mean, it's 9 years out, but my health is going down. But my major problem is I need to find a resource for help. My house has mold very bad, and I'm staying continuously sick.
Mm-hmm. What kind of mold, though?
Where to reach out.
Because that's...
I'm guessing that, I'll tell you, my father passed away in the house, and it was the bathtub was running, and it was hours and hours, carpet, brand new house. And me and my son moved in, and I couldn't take care of everything by myself and work. So now it's been 20-something years. And you can see the floor, I'm still trying to repair it by myself where it's gone and stuff, but you can see the mold in the house.
All right. Is it black mold? Okay. So,
yeah.
First thing you do is call around to the companies that, work on black mold. Now, look, I mean, is it out of the realm of you to replace whatever carpet floors or whatever floors are there with something else?
I pulled the carpet up right after he passed away.
Yeah.
I started removing the carpet because the house did flood. It was a whirlpool and 100 gallons of water, and then it had been running for like 7 hours.
Damn. Oof.
I know, it was horrible. But I'm coming to the conclusion that's where a lot of my sickness is coming from. I've done a lot of. I've always been a sick person, hypochondriac, whatever they want to call it. But I do. I mean, I had esophageal cancer. So
yeah, sure. Barrett's esophagus, all that jazz. All right. So let me ask you this. Have you hired anybody to go there and do a sampling of what kind of mold you have?
No, sir. I don't have the money. I kind of by myself, and I get $800 a month.
Well, I would honestly see if somebody's willing to donate their time. Just call around and see if somebody can do it for super cheap, maybe like $15 or whatever, to go out there and do a test tube. Because part of the problem with the mold situation is that you need to know what kind of mold it is, because some molds are really easy to get rid of, and some molds, like black mold, can be absolute hell. So you've got to kind of understand that. Now, there's another thing too, is that even if they go to treat it, you can't be there for a little while they're treating it, and all that stuff is dying and the chemicals are in the air and all that jazz. So just kind of keep in mind, now another way to do it where they can nuke the house is where they do the full covering of the house, and they release the heavy duty chemicals, and it kills the trees around the house. So my suggestion to you is, you're getting a stimulus check, right?
Sir, I'm sorry.
You're getting a stimulus check, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm waiting on it.
Okay,
I've been watching your channel.
Yeah. So put that aside, because if you can, you might want to use that to go ahead and have your house tented and specifically treated for mold. Now, it's going to kill, if they tent it, everything in that house. Everything. So just keep in mind, have a setup where you can go stay with a friend for 4 or 5 days or whatever, or even longer. Actually, nowadays it's even longer. But the bottom line is, if you wanted to have the house tented and treated for mold at the same time, that you would have your check, and that's the way to do it.
Okay. So I'm going to tell you, it's through the whole house. The bathroom floor is gone around part of the commode and stuff, and the back door in front of that floor, I've done cut out a 6-foot section, and I've been trying to get the plywood down, but then we have storms, and I just don't feel good. Some days I just do not get out of bed for 4 or 5 days because I'm so sick, just drained.
Here's the thing. This is a classic family-owned Texas house, right? This is a house that's right.
Sir?
This is a house that's seen some generations, right? It's fallen apart in some areas.
My father had it built in 91.
Oh, that's pretty damn. That's a hell of a lot newer than my house.
That's what I'm saying, you know, but then he passed away in 96.
All
so
right.
I paid for the house. You know, I finished paying it off and stuff. In the land, I own the land. It's a half an acre, but, you know, if I didn't know whether it would be best if I tear the house down and maybe buy a travel trailer or something that I can put out there just to live in. Because, I mean, my health is really bad. I don't expect to be around 5 more years. But then I didn't expect that whenever I was 10. So.
Yeah. You don't need to tear it down. Just get it tented. It doesn't sound like it's a huge house, but get it tented. Use your stimulus check for that. Have them treat for mold at the same time. Have a place to stay other than where you're at. Get it tented, because when you go back into it, any living material in the house will be dead. Any living material.
Okay, so everything, I'll have to evacuate the house, all the contents.
Man, when they tent a house nowadays, I mean, even the trees next to the tent, like outside of the tent, even the trees outside of the tent right next to it die.
Okay.
So
I understand.
Yeah, so that's kind of what you want to do. Yeah.
Oh, you are so awesome. Thank you, sir, so much. And God bless you. I'm not going to hold you up. You have the most patience I've ever seen in a man.
Thanks. Thank you.
You're awesome. God bless you, sir.
Thank you, madam. I appreciate it. Well, you have a wonderful, wonderful day.
You too. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So we're actually doing a lot of like home. Christy Hughes, thank you again. I really, really appreciate it. Make sure you give me a call so we can kind of catch up on where you're at with things. And I know you're working with your son on details about getting the 501c3 set up. I really do appreciate it. So the funny thing is, today is a lot of like home improvement options and things like that. So the only reason I really know a lot of these details is because I've worked with a lot of homeless who have either inherited a house or inherited a trailer that they then put on a piece of land. And, you know, you gotta understand, guys, there's what the law is when it comes to homeless people. And all homeless people law really equates to is the homeless person just getting more and more and more and more into the criminal law cycle of being in jail for, being out there on the corner and asking for money and panhandling, and boom, they're in jail. Or they steal a sandwich from Wawa, boom, they're in jail. Or they have a trailer somewhere and it's not set up based upon code enforcement or whatever, boom, jail. So the problem is, as an attorney, I have to kind of do a little bit more of the, female justice way, how she has her two little scales, weighing what's going to actually equate to a solution for this situation, because when it comes to, and a lot of my claimants are homeless or low income or about to, at risk of becoming homeless. When it comes to homeless people, there's no check coming next month, usually, to fix the problem. They might have money coming next month, but they need that to basically survive, which is why the stimulus thing is kind of a good little injection of help money to fix any problem like that, a mold issue. If she can find somebody to tent it for cheap enough, then basically they could go ahead and fix that mold issue. It will kill, literally remove every potted plant. If you have any pets or animals, make sure they are far away from the house. Make sure that they are removed from the property. You cannot have any water bowls near the property. You cannot have the pets tied to the property. Anything near, within a 5-foot distance around that tented area of that house will die. Dead, gone forever. So, and not going to grow back. So just kind of keep that in mind. If you do have a mold issue, that's usually one of the best ways to take care of it. Can mold come back? Yeah. Like if you have wood that has, soaked in this problem and there's still leaks in the house, and all of a sudden you've got a good kind of like, dead living material there that other stuff can begin to grow off of, then yeah, you can potentially get more mold. But, remember too, when it comes to, a lot of this stuff, here's another home tip. There are paints out there where you can paint a wood and make that wood, for the most part, waterproof for most applications. You just have to make sure it can be used for inside application. There are certain roof paints that you can put on wood that will do very well. Frankly, if you want to really, really, if it's an outside thing, like a piece of wood, if you want a really, really good wood that you're not going to be standing on, that you could utilize, that's going to keep a lot of stuff off of it, but it's not, and I don't know what the ground clearance requirements are and stuff like that, yada, yada, but if you put anti-fouling paint, like boat anti-fouling paint on wood, that thing is going to last a very long time. So just something to consider. And what I would do is code it in one thing and then code with that. Another thing to code things with to help out with home improvement stuff would be like a chassis saver. So if you have something metal that's been rusting, put chassis saver on it. That thing will not rust. You have to keep it out of the sun or paint over it with another paint, but then you'll be pretty much good to go. Mike Harrington, Walter, question went with the big box won my case. My question on how long do they have to settle up with me for supposed money they put out for medical records? There's no time limit. They can settle up with you years down the line because you signed a contract. I mean, sure, there would be, I guess, a statute of limitations as to how long they could bring a suit against you to collect them. But if you're looking to like get out of having to pay them, then just look at what the statute of limitations is as to when they could sue you for them. Otherwise, I mean, you do want to pay them back, but at the same time, if it's been 7 years, do they even know you exist anymore? I don't know. Okay, so Mike Harrington, how long has it been? How many years are we looking at? Let's see. Christy Hughes, I'll be your paralegal. Howdy. Awesome. So wait, let me scroll up and see if I can find if there's any questions from Christy Hughes real quick. For Cheyenne. It's 5 for Cheyenne. Okay, cool. I'll have to send that over. No biggie. Shadow is literally right below me right now. He's sleeping under the table, and he is. I don't know what he ate, but he's killing me right now. He's making it hard to breathe. I have my own problem with mold over here. It's a little black doggy that's adorable. Okay. Yes. Right to is really strange. Okay, let me see what else. I live in the homeless mindset. We'll be selling our MH to pay 5 years back taxes in April, May, June, so we can at least get out of here and go anywhere else. Okay, cool. I'm just looking for questions at this point. JTM, Walter, can I call? Yeah, call me right now. Here, I'll give you the, here, this is the phone number. Now, guys, I'm going to stop at 10 tonight because I don't know if you can tell, but this job, especially with COVID, because, there were changes in employees, and I had to do more jobs, and stuff like that. But this job is a killer, is a total killer. Lachelle, hey, Walter, I asked in an email about any advice you'd give when pursuing PT that may affect us. But yeah, I saw that. Look, guys, if you emailed me, I have a little stack here that I'm going to attack over the weekend because there's about 15 or 16 that I can think of emails that came in. And just as a heads up, guys, you email me, if you could keep it less than a full-size Cheyenne paragraph as to what the issue is, just kind of, because what will happen is I'll get it and it will have, a full-size Cheyenne text, and my brain just shuts off. So, all right, here we go. Here's another call. All right, let me get this over to here. Perfect. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Knott with Disability Resolution PA. We are live on YouTube right now, and just remember to use a fake name. Would you like me to answer a question or run hearing questions with you?
I just basically had a question about pandemic unemployment and this SSDI.
Okay.
And basically, I am getting SSDI for years and I'm uninsured. And I substitute teach for a while, and I'm eligible for unemployment, pandemic unemployment. Now, I wanted to know if I take that, is it going to affect my disability benefit?
Wait, so are you on a program, like a ticket to work program, or like, any of that stuff?
No, not a ticket to work program, no.
So you're currently on SSDI benefits, but you're working at the same time?
Well, it's just part-time. It's only like maybe 3 to 4 times a month.
How much are you earning per month?
I'm keeping under my, I'm way under my the disability like that you're allowed to make.
So with the changes of everything that's going on, traditionally it can be an issue, but right now due to COVID, it's not really a problem to be able to receive those additional funds. But I'm telling you, man, how old are you right now?
50.
How long have you been working this job?
Off and on the job for about 2 years.
You're going to get hit with a hard CDR. I'm telling you.
Okay.
They're going to hit you hard with a CDR because if you're capable of doing that part-time, you could probably, and I'm sure you kept it under 20. I'm sure you did, but I'm sure if you added a few more hours. What did you say your income was per month?
the income per month is right for the SSDI.
No, yeah. What is your income per month just from the job?
Okay. Oh, from the job, maybe from the job, I would say less than 300
per month.
Yes.
All right. They're probably not going to bother you.
I've only worked maybe, I would say, in a year maybe 10 times.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So if you're only earning, I mean, so you're literally working like 10 hours tops for the week.
Yeah, very sporadic. Yeah.
Or the month, rather. The month. Okay.
Yes.
What kind of a job is it?
It's just a substitute teacher. So I just fill in basically.
Okay, I got you. Okay. In that
like
case,
a glorified babysitter. Yeah.
In that case, they're not. They're not really going to be looking to go after you that much about that. But it would be wise. Oh yeah.
Now, as far as the pandemic goes, now I'm with the money that I'm eligible for, which is which was just a regular pandemic unemployment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm under what you can make as far as your allowance. But with what they're adding on to the unemployment, I would be over. But you said that shouldn't be a problem since it's under certain.
Well, there's another thing too. Like, how are you getting unemployment? Are you just like getting this job, working it, and then going on unemployment, and then getting this job and working it, and then going on unemployment?
No, I've had this job, like I said, for the longest time. I've never went on unemployment, but I was told. I was told by the unemployment office because they shut schools down for the pandemic, and they said we have no work for you. If you can file for unemployment. So I went ahead and put all my information in. Unemployment said, hey, you're eligible for this much pandemic. And that's basically where I'm at.
All right. So let me tell you this. This is a tricky, sticky situation, not for what you're thinking, but for a different reason. Look, okay. Most unemployment in most states and most federal-based, arenas, particularly SSDI, is not accountable income. So you should be okay there. But the problem is, if you're going to go into unemployment, they're really cool right now about not using that whole stupid law or stupid, phrasing where you cross off and say, I'm ready and willing to work. And when you sign that, it tells them, hey, this person's ready and willing to work. So when you start collecting that unemployment, that's a heads up to them that you are ready to work. Now, we are still in COVID land. We still will be probably for another 6 months, but I'm telling you this is going to trigger a CDR. So you should take it, but just be ready to defend yourself by going to a bunch of doctors within the next 6 months.
Gotcha. Okay, well, that makes sense. Because like I said, basically I understand what you're saying because you're able and available to work. I got that. Now, the only problem with that is like, even if I was able, schools haven't been in, so that's kind of where I've been at. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I appreciate all the information. That was great. So
yeah, and just do me a favor, write down and look up the 8-step sequential process. Again, the 8-step sequential process. Go learn about that. That's really what you're going to be up against when they do the CDR, and you're at the age where they're going to be heavily looking at you for potential CDR because you're in the 50 to 55 age group, which means if they can kick you off for a couple of years until you get graded out of the 55 plus arena, they save some money,
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So just be aware of that. But yeah, good sir. All right. Well, you have a wonderful night and a very blessed weekend. I'll catch up with you at some point in the future.
Yeah, Walter, it's been a blessing. I've learned about your channel, and I just thank you for giving everybody this great advice and doing what you've been doing. Everybody appreciates it, so thank you.
Perfect, sir. Thank you. Have a wonderful night.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, guys. Now, there was a person who I wanted to go ahead and talk to. Let me see if I can find her real quick. It was... thank you, Pissed Off Man. Also, Pissed Off Man, I have to call you. I've been working day and night, so I've just been like, do you ever have any recourse for third stimulus? I'm getting another phone call. All right, yes, the answer is yes, they do. Let me just get this phone call real quick, and then we'll go through that. Click. Hi, we are live on YouTube right now. Make sure you use a fake name, and also, very important, go ahead and basically let me know, do you want me to answer a question or run hearing questions with you?
Walter, this is Lachelle. I had asked a question in chat regarding the physical therapy.
Okay, so help me out with the full. Yeah, help me out with the full question. What do you want to know about physical therapy?
I'm just wondering if there's anything that you would advise or recommend to be aware of during your physical therapy treatment that may affect your potential of being found disabled.
Well, help me out. Like, what's the impairment? What's the physical therapy specifically on? Like, give me a little backstory. Yeah.
Well, my physical therapy is going to be in regards to two areas of my C-spine with disc issues that are pushing on the exiting nerves there at those levels, causing the right arm weakness, and then as well as I have thoracic. I have like 4 areas of my thoracic spine that are damaged, that are causing pain and pushing on exiting nerve roots there. But my biggest impairment is my right arm weakness. So I'm a registered nurse, and it's put me out of work. And I've seen a neurosurgeon who has tried to work me up and advised pretty much directly that he would recommend surgery. I'm trying to avoid that right now. So I actually asked if he would, prescribe me physical therapy instead, or at least before.
So here's the thing. Therapy places always like to put into their notes that you are improving, even if you're not really improving. So are you currently improving?
I'm not. I've been status quo with what put me out of work since it happened back in the beginning of December. However, I've been dealing with the back issues since 2017. I even had to start working part-time as a nurse since 2017 because of that, because I couldn't work consecutive days and I needed time off. But since the neck, it progressed into my neck, I've been out of work completely since December. I'm still actually employed, but they basically gave me the option to resign or terminate me at this point from my job.
Okay.
And I'm not improving.
Okay. So here's kind of, and I'm assuming the ultimate, the thesis here is, or the question at issue is, what do I need to worry about with how vocational rehabilitation, or in this case, it would just be right arm and back rehabilitation. How will this potentially harm me? And what do I say to them? And what do I get them to do to help me with my disability claim? Is that kind of what we're shooting for?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
In a disability claim, I'm actually not very hopeful that I would be approved for disability. I'm 38 years old, and I just know how difficult that is as a female as well, watching your channel. But at the same time, it is something that I'm just trying to educate myself on, and it's kind of on the back burner as an option. But currently, I don't know where I'm going from here. But if I do apply for disability, I just didn't want that to end up being something that made it even more difficult.
So here's what you're going to do. Tomorrow morning, you are going to file for Social Security disability insurance and SSDI. You're going to concurrently file for both disability programs. You are going to basically purchase the records and get a copy yourself from the rehab facility that's been treating you so far, so you can see what they're putting in it. Usually the things to watch out for are basically range of motion improvement, lifting capability improvement, distance walking improvement, things like that. So if they filled out an RFC on you, which they probably did, which was probably part of some insurance requirement, you want to get a hold of that and see what they're saying. Another thing to do is to go ahead and, as you're doing these functions with them, now, are they aware of like current medication changes? Have you been, and I guess what I'm getting at is, what relationship do you have with this therapy-based facility? I mean, is it where they're doing a full medical review, or is this just like a, hey, you come in, we put you on these machines, and then you're out of there for the day?
Right, that's correct. It was just a 4-week, he ordered 4 weeks of therapy. And he actually wants me to follow up with him afterwards. So, I think my goal is so that he can move forward with hopefully me agreeing to then have surgery at that point.
Yeah, and then he'll shoot you off to some doctor, and then he doesn't have to deal with it anymore, and done. Okay, cool. So basic thing that you have to watch out for is them writing down that your maximum medical improvement has reached, something where you could go back to work. You don't want that in the record. Because you have all these back issues, I'm assuming that you've been prescribed, or you're likely getting to the point where you're going to be prescribed some sort of ambulatory device. Make sure you follow up with that. What are the things that you're having the most difficult time with at the therapy sessions?
Range of motion, lifting. I guess I don't really know how to answer that.
Do me a favor, write this down on your end. You want to look up a standard residual functional capacity form, RFC form online. That's going to show you all of the INGs that these doctors use to do an analysis as to what your capabilities are, both for physical and mental. Or if you email me, I'll send you the one that I use. And the one I use is, I've been updating and customizing it for a while. But the bottom line is this. It goes through the INGs, which are walking, standing, pushing, pulling, crouching, stooping, kneeling, et cetera, and then the mental focusing, remembering all that jazz, being able to complete instructions, being able to start things and then finish. It goes through all of the functional tasks that they look at to see what your capabilities are. And those are the things that they're basically assessing with you to see what your capabilities are. And if your range of motion is limited, they're going to be looking first with the SSA at element 4 of the 5-step sequential process. So think 5 elements. Element 4, so the second from the last element, they're going to be looking at, can you do your past work? Well, obviously not, otherwise you'd be working it. Then element 5, for somebody your age, 38 years old, they're going to be looking at, okay, if ... you basically can't do your past work, can you do other types of skilled, semi-skilled, or non-skilled work in the national economy? So what that really comes down to, what that really means is, you don't really need to worry so much about your nurse practitioner job. You need to worry more about your, can you do any job in the national economy? Because if you can, above part-time, then you will get stuck at element 5 where they'll deny you. But you need to apply immediately, because the process takes forever. B, by the time you get to an adjudicator at the DDS level, you might be significantly worse than you already are, because keep in mind, when it comes to your particular back impairments, sometimes out of nowhere, they get bad fast. And you're a nurse, so you kind of know not everybody has a nice slope upward as to getting worse.
Sure.
Okay. Other things, you're going to be talking to your therapy person saying, hey, I was able to drive this place. I had coffee with my friends. My husband and I got into a fight, and we had this beautiful makeup where he realized that he was wrong. All of these little things get put into the record in the fact pattern of what he's writing, just like what doctors do at the hospital or the doctor's office. And people don't realize at the end of the day that those statements that which they didn't think were relevant become extremely relevant to the actual medical diagnostic impressions that they come out with. So just be very careful with what you state to that person. Keep it to medical review and limitations. The more you go into hobbies and this and that and blah, 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 and all these things, I was riding a horse while eating, cheesecake, and it was a dream come true because blah, blah, blah. The more of that stuff that you come out with, the more it's going to be used against you. So just start to... The way I approach it with people is, I used to tell people to talk to their medical professionals like they were the attorney, but nobody really knew what that meant. So instead, talk to your medical professionals like they're police officers or sheriffs and things like that. Give them the bullet points, explain to them in detail the issues you're having, but they don't need to know your life story other than the medically relevant information.
Yes, I understand that.
Perfect. Excellent. Did that help at all?
Yeah, definitely.
Good. Well, excellent.
I honestly didn't think that I was in a position where I should apply for disability, but it sounds like maybe I should. I just thought maybe if I waited or attempted another job in the economy, I've heard you talk about Walmart greeters.
Yeah.
That nature, to see how that would even work out for me.
Yeah.
Because I can walk and I can stand. I am most comfortable in, and honestly, this is awkward to share, but I'm most comfortable in like a bent over position.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't like to stand up straight, but sitting for me hurts worse. It rounds out my back.
Sure.
It makes everything worse. I do lie down, but I have to lie down in very specific positions. So like I don't see myself as necessarily a fully disabled person, because my limitations don't seem as severe as what I would think you would need to be qualified for disability, honestly. But as far as going to work a full-time job, I just think that I would need accommodations that were unrealistic in order to be able to best perform in that position and also be comfortable. But again, I know that's not where most people are who apply and qualify for disability. So
you got to keep in mind too, if you have a couple of failed work attempts on the most basic jobs, for example, price checker, price marker, somebody that has to go ahead and put shoelaces into shoes. We all use the Walmart greeter as an example because everybody knows what the Walmart greeter is doing. It's an easy job. It's easy. It's instantly understandable as to what your job is to hand out happy stickers and be nice. If you basically can't do those jobs at a full-time, position, and you have a couple failed work attempts, that's going to help you out. But keep in mind, you're a young claimant, and a lack of medical evidence from a young claimant is instantly a horrifically likely to be denied claim. So you're going to have to keep getting medical treatment going forward. And the big thing here too is that you got to understand, as you go in front of these judges and these adjudicators, some of them are going to like young claimants and be cool with it. Some of them are not going to like young claimants. I mean, there's a judge right now. I'm not going to say where they're at, but Cheyenne knows the judge too. But the bottom line is, there are judges that will not approve anybody under 50 years old. They won't approve them. They won't do it at all. So, yep. So, yeah.
I do have one more question for you.
Sure.
I really appreciate your time. It is in regards to, what's it called? Unemployment. So if I'm terminated from this position because I haven't agreed to resign, but they've given me the option to resign or be terminated.
Mm-hmm.
If I am terminated and I apply for unemployment, and I've heard you talk about this a few times, but I'm still just up in the air if that's something that I would be comfortable doing, if I would be willing to take that risk of hindering my possible chances of getting disability approved.
Well, you were a nurse, so that's substantial money. Yeah, that's substantial money. You absolutely apply for unemployment, roll the dice. Let's say you get denied, and you collected unemployment for. So how long is your unemployment going to last? If you were to take it.
I don't know how long unemployment lasts, honestly.
Okay, so for whatever state or county or wherever you're at, you might want to call and find out how many months you'd be able to get, and then basically from there, I mean, you might have a whole claim, completed and approved by the end of it, or you might get a denial, and then you file again because of the judge not allowing. I mean, it could go to appeals council, could go higher, but I would not look, if you can't be a nurse anymore, do you think that you could do a lesser job? So what do you think?
I struggle with just ADLs at home, so I'm no longer driving. I do have teenage daughters who drive and do a lot of the household stuff. I don't feel like I could. I know that my days at home are not spent in ways that would be in a work position, and I struggle just with that. Like I'm not active at home.
It sounds it sounds like an early claim. That's what it sounds like. You're in the beginning phase of figuring out how severe you actually are. You have limitations. Honestly, the thing that happens with a lot of these claims, I'm not trying to be a negative person here, but what usually happens is the person's like kind of bad, but they're not really, really severe. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, for some reason, and I see this with this type of claim all the time, and it's always a young female, boom, there'll be a car accident situation or something makes the impairment worse. And then all of a sudden, boom, it's an obvious disability claim. I don't know why that always happens, but it just seems to be like what always transpires from these types of claims where they're close, but then something happens and all of a sudden, that. Now I'm saying though, if you do get into a car accident, I'm not giving you that karma. I'm not causing that to happen. But what usually happens is injured, they'll slip, they'll fall, they'll be in a McDonald's, they'll be at a whatever, they'll be in Kmart doesn't exist, they'll be in a Walmart, and then all of a sudden, boom, something will happen. And then for the rest of their life, they're at that severe level. So my point to you is this too. If you're not sure where you're at, and it sounds like you're kind of like, I'm not sure where they're at medically, which means I'm not sure where, where I'm going to be at, buy the records from that facility, use a high tech, and buy the records from that, therapy-based facility and find out what they're saying about you, But I'd immediately file. Like if you get anything from today, tomorrow morning, online, file.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Have a wonderful, wonderful night. And hopefully at some point you'll let us know and catch up with us down the line.
Okay. Thank you. I will.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay, perfect, guys. So let's see. I know I'm missing a bunch of phone calls here. Let me see if I can kind of catch up on what's the highest amount of money a disabled person can receive on SSDI. I keep hearing people say they get more than me or less than me. Well, it goes up over $3,000, Diane. So the bottom line though is that's for like CEOs and stuff like that. So most people getting were from like $1,100 to $1,300. That's most people. Like if you haven't worked much in your life, you're probably looking at the 600 to 800 category in which you get a hybrid allowance with SSI. If you work kind of normal jobs, things like that, I'm getting a call though. You're probably going to 1,100 to 1,300, but you might be higher. Let's see. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Knott. Oh wait, I got to switch it over. There we go. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Knott. Oh no, there's a thing here. Hold on. I have to decline this call and switch it over to headset mode and speaker. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Knott. We are live on YouTube. Remember to use a fake name. And also, if you'd like me to go ahead and answer a specific question, that's fine. Or I can run hearing questions with you. But just keep in mind, we only have 8 minutes until 10 p.m.
Okay. Hi, my name is Samantha.
Okay.
And I have a question. I am up for review in July.
Okay.
I'm on disability, and I sent you an email asking about getting a BPQI.
Okay.
And I received it, and I'm wondering if I should be a little concerned because there's really nothing in it. It just lists data as far as like when I was approved, the dates I was approved, the amount that I was approved for, like the date of my review, and then it lists like the earnings for the years that I worked, and that's it.
Yeah, well,
that's all that's in it.
Usually they'll put in a notation. You'll get to see some of the notes of the local field office reps inputting information as to when you're going to have. Wait, okay, so here's the thing. Most of these people are not going to know what a BPQY is. So either I can explain it to them as to what it is, or you can. Would you like to, or would you like me to go? Actually, you do it, and then I'll supplement anything that I see that's missing.
I really don't know what it is.
Okay. All right, we'll start there. The local field office is a hub for everybody. And the local field office has what's called a BPQY. And the bottom line of what that is it's kind of like a summary of your claim. It's a summary as to what's going on with your claim. It's basically telling you of upcoming CDRs that they're going to be doing, where you're at currently in their system. It's a benefits planning query that basically tells you the basics of where your claim is currently standing with them. It's like a status update for somebody that's not really interacting with the SSA much right now. So like, let's say you haven't spoken to the SSA in 2 years and you're like, I'm just wondering what's going on. You would then request from the SSA, basically, your basic BPQY, which would tell them essentially, hey, which would tell you essentially, hey, what's going on. Now, I'm surprised to hear inside that they did not tell you about the CDR that they're going to be doing on you. Is that correct?
It does tell me that my next medical review is July of 21, and then it says medical re-exam cycle X plus years.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the X plus years means, but I did know that July of 21 was my next review.
Okay, cool. So the re-exam cycle is how often they're going to apply the CDR to you. And for some people, it's every 7 years. Some people, it's every 3 years. Some people, it's every 2 years. Some people, it's every 1 year. but they're on a cycle where they keep reviewing somebody. Now, sometimes you won't get any forms as part of the cycle. Sometimes you get to short, sometimes you get to long. Did it specify what type of review that you're going to be needing to do?
Okay. And I had asked them, you had told me to ask for a DDE, and the lady said she didn't know what that was, and then she was just pretty much short and hung up. So
you know what's funny about that?
Look it up to see what it was. So.
Yeah, like here's the thing, and I gotta hide most of the stuff that's on this, but I have right here. I don't know if I can. Hold on. Let me see if I can hide a bunch of this stuff. I have right here. If you guys are wondering, I'm going to be doing a video on it. But this is what a DDE is. A DDE is a disability determination explanation, which is, and I'm going to be doing a video on it. So bottom line is the local field office can sometimes access what the DDS reps did at the SSA, because the OHO, the Office of Hearing Operations, can always access this. And we use this as like a mini summary. So what you need to know is that basically these DDEs, they have everything in them of the DDS's prep your claim, things that they liked about it, things that they hated about it. They outline which listings you were. They have a recommendation issues, every medical facility that you've been to, logged out, when you went there and started, when you stopped going there. They've got claim communications, what the CEs were saying, what the findings of fact and analysis were. They go through any of the psychiatric techniques, the B criteria, A criteria, C criteria of the listing level analysis. They go through all that stuff, which is why I always tell people if and remember too, you might have not had a more senior local field office person. But if you can get a copy of a DDE, that's gold for your claim, because that tells you exactly where they felt your claim was weak. And that is crucial, because if you know, like over here, like if I go to, let me find I don't know how I'm going to be able to hold this up without you seeing a name or something on it. But if I go over here to, so the MDI, the first thing I always look at on the DDEs are the MDI, which are the medically determinable impairments, which go in the severe and non-severe category. And what that means is that basically they tell you exactly what they think your impairments are. They're either severe, will last 12 months or longer, or not severe. And then you can go down to the basic criteria for the listings that they think you fit into, whether or not you meet the B criteria, the C criteria. Then they have a PRT additional explanation area. And that's where you start to see a lot of the MCPC stuff, which is the medical consultant giving testimony for the SSA. It's the doctor you don't see. There's a doctor at DDS that never sees you, and that's the MC, the medical consultant. So like, and I get it. You can always call back and ask to speak with a manager and be able to get one. But the bottom line is, if you can get a DDE, or even if you can call DDS and ask them, hey, can you pull up my file and see if there's a DDE that you can send me? If you can get one of those, that'll tell you specifically where they thought your claim was weak. And then you can work on improving that particular aspect of it.
Okay. And do you request that through the local field office?
You can, but they don't always have it, because all right, the people who create that are the state-based agency called DDS. Who is DDS? They're the people that get the claim after the local field office receives it when you initially file. They get the claim because they're the ones who actually adjudicate it. And then when they adjudicate it, they write up one of these DDE reports, and then they send it up if they think it's an approval. And if they think it's a denial, they just send it right back to the field office. So if they send it up for quality control approval, then basically the federal government takes that back and says, okay, cool, we think this is approvable or not approvable. And then either way, it goes to the field office. When it goes to the field office, you get an approval letter or a denial letter.
Okay, so which place would I want to call to get it?
Disability Determination Services. What part of the country are you in?
Illinois.
All right, so you're gonna, I don't have that phone number just saved on my phone. My phone is ringing off the hook, so I can't I can't even look up stuff. Like, I hate that about the iPhone. When somebody's calling you, you're basically dead in the water. You can't, if you wanted to call 911, you have to wait until they're done, or just hang up on the other person. But so basically,
Disability Determination Office.
Yeah, Disability Determination Services, DDS.
Okay.
And basically, if you have any of your old forms, you can probably look on your old forms when you were applying to see what the phone number was for DDS. And there will usually be an extension number on there as well. If you can get a hold of that extension number, if the person's, like, how long ago were you found disabled?
I think I applied in 2016, and I was approved Yeah, I applied in 2016. My entitlement was 2017.
So you're probably maybe going to be able to get a hold of that same DDS rep if they're still working there. And not still working there. So if they haven't at this time stopped working at DDS, you can probably talk to your original DDS rep. If you can't get a hold of the original DDS rep, then go ahead and reach out to the manager of DDS, like ask to speak with the manager that can access your claim, and all of them can. And then at that point, ask them to send you the DDE report. And the only time they maybe might try and finagle you out of sending it, in which case you can always have an attorney contact them, is when there's mental report information in there that they don't want you to be able to access.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Perfect.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate your help.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful night.
You as well. Appreciate it. Bye.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, so guys, I missed a million calls there. Let me just see. There's a lot of calls. So we're at 10 o'clock tonight. Here's what I'm gonna do. Okay, I'll do one more. I'll do one more. Let me just do this. I gotta click here. Boop. So Google Voice, which I've been using for years, I always loved, but here we go. Now I'm not so in love with it because it's having issues. Now we're on speakerphone. Hi, we are live on YouTube right now. And what I'd like to do is remember to use a fake name. Would you like me to answer a specific question, or would you like me to run hearing questions with you?
A specific question.
Perfect. How can I help you?
Hi, my name is Jane. I heard you say earlier that no one under 50 would get approved.
No. People under 50 get approved all the time. Most attorneys won't take their claims, but I do take their claims because I am a glutton for punishment.
Yeah. I understand.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to preface by saying that I'm 7 years too late, unfortunately.
Oh, gotcha.
I filed in 2013,
mm-hmm.
and of course was denied, and went through the usual federal appeal, which
Gotcha.
was returned unfavorable.
Gotcha.
And got an attorney, and I've been through federal court, which was returned back to the state, remanded to the state. Got first got a hearing, denied. Federal lawsuit that I won, so it was remanded back to the state. Got a second hearing, which was quickly denied again.
Okay.
Sued federally again, and it was just sent back to the state again. So now that it's been 7 years and I'm over 50, I didn't know if that was going to help her because the original case started when I was under 50. But you're saying that not necessarily because I was started this process under 50 that it would make a difference.
Yeah. So basically, here's the thing. You do have the option, not saying you should use it, not saying you should use it, where you can apply the nuclear option, which is where you wipe out back pay up to 50 so that they can do basically a grid out option for amended AOD, which is amending your alleged onset date to basically the day before you turn 50. That is not a good option, though, if you can show and prove that you're severely impaired within the 5-step sequential process before 50 years old. Now, you keep getting remands. What are the remands about? Is it purely just a classic like the AAJ is telling the ALJ to do another hearing, or is there like specific stuff that they're looking for?
I'm not entirely sure. I know that the original judge, which I had for the first 2 hearings, was stuck on some things that were absolutely just made up in his head, like things like that my relationships were clearly intact, so therefore it didn't affect me, and that I'm homeless. So, he just was, and he dismissed or didn't allow, he applied low weight to the evidence from my treating physician, his statement, and he did not apply any weight to the statement from a third-party physician that examined me, simply because I also had a lawsuit for the car accident that caused my back injuries. So he didn't allow the medical evidence, none of it. I have 6 herniated discs in just one area of my back, bulging discs in my neck, a compressed spinal cord, and because I hadn't had surgery yet, he assumed that it was because I didn't need surgery, and that wasn't the case.
Gotcha. Okay.
I have sciatica, radiculopathy, migraines. There's like a pile of things. But he like focused a page of his 19-page decision on my weight. I wasn't overweight enough.
Okay. So now this claim goes way, way, way back, which means back then they used to apply more of a standard for the overweight because it used to even be a listing. But all right. So, all right. Here's the deal.
Yeah, here's one more thing about this is that my date of last insurance is 12/2014. So nothing after that date that helps me.
Wait, say that one more time.
My DLI is 12/31/2014.
Okay. So you got an SSDI problem. Okay.
Yeah.
And what was the filing date again?
2013.
You gotta win this then. You don't really have, unless you're gonna go back and get some more quarters.
Option.
Yeah, unless you're gonna go get some more quarters of coverage, you gotta win this thing.
And I originally applied in 2013 for 2012. I was on unemployment, so I self-adjusted my date to say I conceded the point that I said, fine, let's adjust my onset date. And they were happy about that. So I already gave up 6 months and moved away, several months of coverage there.
Well, how many times has it been remanded?
Twice federally.
So you get one more remand, it's going to go in front of a different ALJ. I mean, that's an option at this point. You've waited long enough.
Now I'm waiting.
Yeah.
Right now I'm waiting for the state to schedule my third ALJ hearing. And I now have I live in a new area because I'm homeless now and a camper. And I'm in a different area of the state. If I get a new judge, well, get a new judge anyway, but I'm in a different part of the state. And the judge that I pulled is one who sometimes will approve, but sometimes does closed case approvals, from what they tell me.
I don't know the claim. And when we're talking about double remand, I have to see what the appeals council briefs were specifically upset about for the ALJ for the new remand, because when I don't know what the AAJs are demanding from the ALJ, I can't really tell you exactly what your marching path needs to be, because ultimately, look, a lot of people don't realize, but the usual thing that most claims get upon their initial remand is like your template, just do another darn hearing, but specifically I want to know more about this, so develop the record. The second remand, it's like specifics. It's like, this is a problem, this needs to be fixed, why wasn't this fixed? Or this is a problem, we'd like more information on this, do this. It's less of like a open to anything situation. It's more of like a very narrow specific piece of law that we want to know about, or a very narrow specific piece of fact pattern that we want to know more. So what in the second remand were they looking for?
There was a big issue with him not allowing anything to do with my treating physician's opinion, and the treating physician gave 2 separate disability statements in separate years. He wrote a statement for 2012 or 13, and then he wrote another one in 2015 saying, yes, disability statement.
All right, weight of evidence, all that jazz. I'd have to see the evidence, because remember, like, you're talking about specific, so they're referencing, now, wait a minute, you said 2015, and you said your AOD was 2014, so...
Yes, there's still like, from what I understand, even though my coverage ended, if my case is approved, I would still be on disability after that date. But lose as of whenever, then I couldn't file a new case because my chances are gone after that point.
Well, you could. You would just have to file it for SSI benefits. I mean, no, I'm assuming you're doing
right.
you're filed concurrently, right, for both claims?
I didn't, because I had a house and I had a car and I had money in the bank, because I sold everything that I had, but then I sold my house and I had too much money in the bank, and I just spent the last of my house money, and then a relative died and left me life insurance money, so I still have too much money in the bank to file for SSI.
Who makes too much money?
I have too much money in the bank. I had a relative pass away and leave me money in a life insurance policy.
Okay, all right, so...
Too many assets.
I'm not going to have enough time to look at this thing to see which way to push or present to the judge, because I'd have to read through your entire record to give that.
Yeah.
But if you can call in next week and give me a more specific fact pattern, or email me the specific AC review, and just read it, see what evidence he's actually referring to. He'll have cited it. And if you can get me those particular medical documents. Now, you're still using the same attorney, I'm assuming, right?
I've had 7, and this is one thing that, if nothing else, if you could share with people, when you first file, what I did not know is what you are teaching people. There are such things as a date of last insurance. I didn't know that. There are things like a grid or whatever they called it, where age matters and certain conditions. I knew nothing when I first applied. And the other thing is that attorneys that I had, the first one took me to a certain point, and when it came time to do the federal appeal, she said, I don't do that. So then I had to find a second attorney. Second attorney said, okay, I did federal appeal, but I don't go beyond that. You need to find someone to handle a civil suit. Found someone who did that, and then that person left that firm. So my case was passed on to the owner of the firm. Well, when it came time for the second hearing, the owner of the firm who had inherited my case, 3 days before the hearing, she said, I can't make it. Well, I have this other person who might be able to take over for me. And I'd never met the person. And at the first time I met him was when I walked into the hearing. And it just seems like from day one, none of them acted like you are acting to complete strangers, which is like you care.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe I just had like the worst luck with it, which was even worse with the car accident attorney, which is another thing entirely. But anyway, I appreciate you, and everybody who's getting your advice should appreciate you. I really do.
Thank you.
I wish I knew it 7 years ago.
No, so the point you brought up is really, really good. I need to do a video on that, because I've never done a video on that. Just so that everybody knows, most disability attorneys only do from initial filing up to and through the administrative law judge hearing. So they do initial filing, reconsideration, and the ALJ hearing. Some attorneys will also do what's called appeals counsel. And then some attorneys have to be certified, also do the next step, which is basically to take it into federal, federal court at the lowest. Yeah, at the lowest level, which is district, and then you go to circuit, and then you go to the Supreme Court. And so what happens is so here's the thing to remember. At the very initial filing to reconsideration to ALJ hearing level, that's not like very aggressive, follow the procedural aspects of law. It's not very strict law. When you get to appeals counsel, you're starting to get into more traditional law. But then when you appellate law at the district level, all of a sudden you've skipped like classic K trial stuff and went straight to high-level appellate law. And then once you're in a high-level appellate law, then you're looking at circuit court. And then the next step after that is the Supreme Court of the United States, as in like the highest court of the, like the people who decide what's constitutional, which just so you guys know. Yeah. So
and if I might interject in there as well, at the appellate level, there is additional cost that does not come out of your benefit winnings. That comes out of your pocket to file. I had to pay $400 at each filing of those federal appeals.
Wow, the attorney didn't cover that.
No.
Normally the attorney covers that, and then basically we collect from what's called EJA fees, which are equal access to justice fees, which are different than the usual 25% up to $6K, and then the $6K limitation on our fee disappears once we get to appeals counsel. But then once we go past that threshold of appeals counsel into federal district court, then it's all, we're looking at a totally different set of fees, which are our hourly fees, in which case the government puts aside funds to pay us to represent people who can afford it. And then in that instance, we get paid those EJA, equal access to justice fees. And then, of course, we also get fees looking at, the prior adjudication on the SSA docket. So something a lot of people don't realize is that there's 2 different dockets. There's the SSA docket, initial filing, reconsideration, ALJ, and appeals counsel, SSA docket. And then there's the federal appellate docket, which is the district, circuit, and Supreme Court docket. This is all heavy-duty appellate, like justices stuff. This is all low-level administrative stuff. And what you have to keep in mind throughout this process is that most attorneys that do a particular area specialize in that particular area. But then there's other attorneys that specialize in a different area. And what you usually find is that there's only a couple of firms, be feeder firms from all the other firms who do the ALJ denials, who will send those to those feeder firms that receive appeals counsel, district, circuit, or Supreme Court claims. What I do is, just so you guys know, is I cherry pick the best appeals counsel ones that I want to do myself, and the best, district, circuit, Supreme Court ones that I want to do myself. And then at that point, any additional ones that I'm like, I'll send those out to other feeder firms to see if they want to go ahead and take them at that point. And the reason why is that I do not have tons of unlimited time. Even though I'm registered to do the higher level stuff, I don't have tons of unlimited time to write the briefs required for those higher level claims at the appellate level. And I want to point one other thing out that's really unique. You know how you go to a hearing in front of the administrative law judge? Well, that hearing, we don't have traditional procedural interactions, civil procedure rules. They don't take place in that. But yet, even though that's just a hearing, it is for the purposes of adjudication treated as a trial when you get to the higher appellate law stuff. Which, if you don't know why that's relevant, it's relevant because a hearing is not a trial. A trial has discovery, it has opposing counsel, whereas the judge is really your opposing counsel in that hearing. You have an attorney, but the judge has no attorney representing the SSA, which means the judge is the opposing counsel, even though it's supposed to be non-adversarial, which, as many of you have experienced.
Well, yeah, I recognize that. As soon as I walked in, I recognized, I was like, wait, this is supposed to be non-adversarial, but it certainly felt that way.
Oh, it's super adversarial. I love when the judges, I had a judge the other day, it's like, oh, blah, 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 blah. I said, Your Honor, this is non-adversarial. There's no civil rules of procedure here. Why,
Well, the first ALJ hearing, the state's where the occupational expert was clearly on my side, or at least on the side of the case, saying there's no job that she can do that she did before.
Yeah.
And the judge harangued him.
Yeah.
He was going on and on, and it was like, well, what about this? What about this? What about this? And finally, job 4D, the guy relented and said, okay, with her right foot, if there's this concession and that concession and this concession, that maybe for an hour she can do this once a week. Okay, fine. And he hung it on that.
But see, that's the inherent problem with disability law. If you could fix a lot of problems by giving the judge an opposing counsel so that the judge could be a neutral party, because these disability judges, many of them are opposing counsel, even though they say they're not, they sure as hell are. And they push and are aggressive. But they do represent the state. Think about it. They do. They are the ones who decide whether or not you are disabled, and they're the ones either on direct examination or on cross-examination, right? They're the ones conducting the examination. So to me, if somebody is examining the witness, examining the claimant, examining the medical experts, examining the vocational experts, then they are representing a party. And even though they'll say they're neutral, hey, we represent both sides of this beautiful rainbow. No.
Well, it's even more problematic when they can then not just represent them, but then decide which evidence matters and doesn't matter.
Yeah, Pissed Offerman just put in the comments that's unconstitutional. Yeah, it is. It really is, because you're not having a fair trial. But this isn't a trial; it's just a hearing. Unless you go to higher level courts, in which case it's considered a trial for the purposes of their adjudication at the appellate level. So, hey, words, one's defined as
Welcome
this one. Right. But I'm really sorry you're going through all that, because it's a horrific thing. But you got to win. You got to win it, because if you have a DLI there, you're only, there's no other.
If I don't, there is an attorney who says they're going to be there. I have no faith at this point, because they said they were going to fly down, and then they said, oh, COVID, so we can't do anything for you. I don't know what's going to happen. If something happens and it doesn't work out, Do you do Supreme Court cases?
I do not do any of the Supreme Court stuff right now because I'm overloaded with claims that I do have for basically all the way up through, essentially district court at the federal level. Where are you based again?
Do you know anyone who does them?
Yeah, I know all of them. I
Carolina.
mean, I sit at the same tables and the same, committees and yada yadas with them. But where do you live again?
South Carolina.
Let me see if she's. Look, Sarah. All right, there's two top people that do this right now. There's Sarah Fay and Sarah Bohr, and the person that's the elder of the two that just retired is Sarah Bohr. Sarah Bohr writes the book that we all use as attorneys to study based on case law. Essentially, what winning arguments would be before these different court levels, right? So go look up for your geographic area. I think she might be able to help you. It's Sarah, SARAH space Bohr, BOHR. If you can't make it through this hearing and you have to go back up, you might want to reach out to her and see if she can help you. I mean, if you can't find an attorney to do the original hearing, and you're going to the hearing level again, right? It's the standard remand.
Waiting for it to be scheduled, yes. And there's still, we don't even know if it's going to be over the phone on a video conference or in person, but I think we're not going to do in person anymore.
Yeah, it's not going to be in person. Yeah, it's definitely not going to be in person. If your attorney stomps out on you with that one, you can always call me and I'll try and do an emergency, review of the claim and write a brief and do that stuff. But bottom line, if you're looking at if you get another denial and you got to go, if you get a denial there and you get a denial at appeals council, you get a denial at district court and circuit court. If you're looking at circuit court, Supreme Court stuff, Sarah Bohr's, she's retired, but she might be able to. She had a successor, but I don't know who it was. But she wrote the book. If you guys
put me in the right direction, it would be fantastic.
Yeah, she wrote the book quite literally on higher level appellate law for disability benefits. In fact, judges review her book for counter arguments and arguments to be used as part of the adjudication. So.
Awesome. Thank you.
You got it. Absolutely. Have a wonderful, wonderful night. Let us know what happens down the line and we'll catch up from there,
Will do. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, guys. So it is 10:22. I do need to do a little bit of carpet cleaning in my house to get everything all nice and, whatever. I also have to run over to the USPS. I will catch you all a little bit later. I know I missed a bunch of phone calls. I'm sorry. Basically, I do have a bunch of these emails to go through where people have emailed me stuff. And I recognize them this is not a claim directly for the law firm. So if any of these are hey, what do I do in this situation? I will go ahead and basically at that point, review them, respond to you, give you a call back, and you'll be good to go. Guys, have a wonderful night. I see some people are falling asleep, putting Z's in there. I'll catch you a little bit later. Oh, also, you have to vote on who's going to win the $25 of all the callers. So I'm going to check out at this point and let you guys vote as to who you think should win the $25. Please answer the question you were about the third check in SSI and SSDI. The only real option you have if you don't receive it, and you're calling in and they're still not able to send it to you, is to go ahead and use it as a benefit on your tax return. The other problem is to sue the government over $1,400 is going to be more expensive than not to even just deal with that. So it would be a tax write-off, which is not going to help most of you guys because, you could get it through your taxes thereafter, which is an option. But the bottom line is you don't really even want to have to wait for that. So, okay, so I see some votes here. The Candle Woman, Jane Doe, I love you. I love you lots. That's good. Mold Lady should win. The Mold Lady probably needs it, to be honest, guys, because it ain't going to be cheap to have to, tent that house. My email is this. There you go. Can you answer my question before you go? Thank you, Dime Daryl. What was the I haven't looked at all at the questions. I'm scrolling, Dime Daryl, but man, I'm not seeing it at all. It's probably way up high. There it is. Will closing my 401k plan out before 591/2 trigger CDR since it's not considered gainful activity and taxable income? Will closing my 401k plan out before 591/2 triggers CDR, non-gainful activity, and taxable income. Well, I have to see. Wait, so Dime Daryl, are you on SSI or are you on SSDI? Let me check real quick. You're probably answered that. All right, so 401k funds are counted as a resource under the federal rules. If the funds in the 401k exceed the resource limit for SSI, yeah, then you're gonna be sad. But let me see if for SSDI purposes it's countable. Hold on, guys. Let me check real quick. These websites have it. Interesting. I don't know. I'd have to look it up and specifically look to see. I mean, obviously, if you're, hold on, let me go back to what you're stating at the bottom. Dime Daryl, your SSDI 59 and a half years old. Look, I have to look up and see how it might affect SSDI benefits. Looks like it's countable resource or countable income situation, which means it could hurt you for that 1 month. But otherwise, it becomes a resource and then doesn't matter. Then it wouldn't be a big deal. You just be kind of penalized for 1 month of disability benefits. But I'd have to research it. Send me an email on it because I'll have to check it out at some point throughout the next couple of weeks. No, I'll check it out probably over the weekend. But then we'll kind of go from there. All right, I'm seeing a lot of Mold Lady wins. So here's the deal. I am never good at going back and finding you guys on here. So Mold Lady, the lady who had the mold in the house in Texas, had issues, pulled up the floor, didn't put 4x8 planking down, all that jazz, could get the house tented, could use the $1,400 for it. That particular person, if you were out there, shoot me a text with your information. I'll then call you to confirm that it is you, and then we'll work out a thing where I can go ahead and send you a PayPal for the $25 that you've won for participating as part of this live. I'll catch you a little bit later. Have an absolutely wonderful night. Attorney Walter Knott, thank you so much, guys. And if you have any additional questions, send them over to the email, and then I'll try to get back to you as quickly as possible. And I'm sorry, Silent Universal Dreamer. We didn't get her in today. Probably next week we'll be able to get her in. All right. I'll catch you guys later. Thank you so much. Bye-bye, guys. Bye.